It was the last Dynamite before WWE WrestleMania. Kind of has no impact personally, but did they try their best at putting on a good show here? No, they didn't. There were a few returns, a few heel turns, a few, I was going to say alright matches, but no, not really. But we're going to dive into this Dynamite show. Of course, we already made a fid in the chat about Jon Moxley legitimately injuring Don Callis. Some people have said, no, it's a blade job. Like, actually looking at the injury on Don Callis' dome, it looks it looks like it actually looks like a blunt object. So there's stories going around that he's blade job it, or he's when he fell, he hit a camera or something, the edge of a camera. I think it looks like the edge of a camera. It almost looks too big to be a blade job unless he's took a fucking samurai sword to it or something. But fair enough, guys. Fair enough. We did kick off the show though with Matt Hardy taking on Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and you know it's a tragic day in wrestling when going into this match you give Matt Hardy no chance. Like, you know that's tragic. I really wish I could sit here and say that Matt Hardy won this match, but he didn't. It is Jungle Boy that won. Even Paige holds Jungle Boy for Hardy. Paige moves it the way. Boy moves it the way, cracks Matt Hardy. Hook comes out to even up the odds. Matt Hardy ends up getting battered by Jungle Boy. You just look at Jungle Boy. Like, I've admit it, over the back of the past couple of months, I think Jungle Boy's began to speak a bit more in his feud with Christian, also the stuff he's been doing with MJF. He sounds alright on the mic. He's decent. He's decent enough. He's like a 6 out of 10 on the mic, right? Which these days probably is actually a wee bit better than normal. But the guy's physique, his look, he just looks like a bum. The best thing about him is when he came out was the Jungle Book song, and Taz would sing it. And that shouldn't be the best thing about your career. It really shouldn't be. Out comes MJF, basically running them down, saying that what he said a few weeks ago was unfair, that his trajectory went up after Double or Nothing 2020. He says it's been all down to himself and that he's the man. He didn't get anything done for himself. It was blood, sweat and tears, damn it. He says to Jack Perry that his career's been kind of mid. Basically says, you're a jobber. These fans have never thanked you. He says, too little, too late. You know, the typical buddy in the crowd saying, because I wouldn't like to be for a place like St. Louis, Missouri. Aye, I get you. Jungle Boy then grabs the mic, says, aye, you told me that if I had ever had to be successful and as big as you, I'd have to ditch all my friends. And MJF's like, aye, that's exactly what I said, big man. But you continued hanging out with him. And then we see like Darby Allin's watching backstage on a monitor, which I thought was kind of funny, but eventually they start brawling, and it's sad, like, because Jungle Boy gets the upper hand on him. And seeing you see MJF wrestle with this guy, he's just a midget, MJF. Right? He can talk, he's a great talker, right? Even though 50% of the time it's whining and complaining about some sob story about his career, like 8 years ago when he was trying out for WWE. It's like, this guy, I like MJF, but he's got no look to him. He's just a midget. He's like a poor man's version of LA Knight. And I like LA Knight. But even LA Knight, I think, is a bit of a jobber. No offence. But anyway, it is what it is. And yeah, Jungle Boy actually gets the upper hand. And MJF retreats from the ring. Backstage, Don Callis and Kenny Omega are backstage. Callis basically says that he's going to apologise for Hangman Page for what happened last week. So basically what happened is Hangman Page like grabbed Don Callis' wrist, and that's what he's apologising for, because, you and Kenny are on good terms, so I'll apologise to you. Like, what? Just absolute jabroni, honestly. Just absolutely jabroni. I mean, they claimed and Daddy Ass could be joining JAS also. Do we really care about that? Not really. We then have the boys and Dalton Castle taking on the BCC, which was funny about this is they get battered on the ramp, then the Combat Club win in about 10 seconds, it feels like. And then Hangman Adam Page gets interviewed. He says, who do you think attacked the Young Bucks last week? And he said, well, it's obvious it was the BBC. He definitely said BBC. He definitely didn't say BCC. He definitely said Big Black. You finish the rest of it. Or the British Broadcasting Company, whichever one you want to take for it. But anyway, I thought this was pretty funny. Don Callis apologised to him. It's like, that's alright. Then the Blackpool Combat Club come in, batter Hangman Adam Page, right? And Don Callis just stands there. I get it, he's not a wrestler, and also it's not like they're attacking Kenny, so he's not really going to help him. But then Moxley turns and looks at him, and it's like there's like a really awkward, like 3 second pause, and then Moxley punches Don Callis. The Blackpool Club are like looking very smug. They walk off, and then pretty much we pan down to Don Callis, and there's blood everywhere. Honestly, a shit ton of blood for Don Callis here. Whether he cut it himself or he hit the camera, it sounded like he hit the camera on the way down. Still a lot of blood. I mean, it was a decent spot, but you know what? I'm surprised that it wasn't Moxley that was bleeding, which is kind of funny in a way. Because Moxley is the guy that's always to bleed. Omega is then told by Tony Schiavone about what happened to Don Callis, and then Omega, absolute awful acting here. He gets told, he's like, "Oh, I wasn't aware of that." What? This guy sucks, man. And then, like, Don Callis earlier was trying to hype up the fact that Omega had one of the greatest matches in wrestling history last week. Yeah, mate, he had one of the greatest matches in wrestling history against a fucking nobody that no one knows on a pish throwaway episode of Dynamite. Yes, one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. No one's even talking about it. It's a week later, but it's the greatest match we've ever seen, isn't it? Absolute fucking fanny, man. Yep, Omega takes on Jeff Cobb. Do we really care about this match? No, with just a lot of no selling, with fee triggers, with Meltzer drivers, with every sort of maneuvers you want in this match. It just sucks. Omega wins, of course. Out come the Blackpool Combat Club. They basically surrounded Omega, but then the American Dragon, that Bryan Danielson's music hits. He tells the Blackpool Combat Club to stand down. He offers a hand to Omega. He picks him up. It kind of looks like that Daniel Bryan is just jobbed at the Combat Club. Then all of a sudden, he hits the running knees on Kenny Omega and then locks him in the crossface. And yeah, 4-on-1 beatdown on Omega. This was actually alright, all this stuff. I mean, the match itself was shit, but see the segments I've done with the Blackpool Combat Club? I do like the whole element of like a hostile takeover and, you know, a faction, a group, so to speak, battering, you know, like members of the roster. It's just a shame that the group consists of Moxley, Bryan, Claudio Castagnoli, and fucking that other guy, whatever he's called. What's his name? Forgot his name. I was about to say Tozawa there. What's his name? Wheeler Yuta. That's his name. So yeah, not a fan of that. If we're being honest, when they have the Guns backstage saying that they've held as much tag team gold as FTR, and they've only been in the business for a short period. Well, FTR have been in the company, been in the business for like 20 odd years, and they're still bums. I agree with the Guns on this one. I can't actually dispute this very often. We then have an AEW International title matchup with Orange Cassidy taking on the Butcher, and the Butcher's mustache just looks absolutely disgusting. There is no two ways of saying it, man. It does. Not that I was staring at this guy's mustache for the whole thing, but yeah, of course, Orange Cassidy wins this match. There was a few bits of shenanigans. We had the Blade coming down, hitting Orange Cassidy with a crowbar. I'm surprised he didn't burst like a carton of OJ, but he didn't. And then out come was the Best Friends. They came out, and then they hit the Butcher in the back with the crowbar, and then yeah, Cassidy hits his finisher, beach something. I can't beach squash. I don't know what his finisher is, man. I've just clocked. I know it's beach something, but aye, he retains. We're not really surprised. We have the outcasts. Ruby Soho taking on Willow Nightingale, and this was just full of jobbers, man. Apparently, Ruby Soho's got a nose job. Well, she still looks like a fucking 1 out of 10, so nose job or no nose job, she looks shite, alright? She looks absolutely pish, and there is no denying that in my opinion. But anyway, I digress. Basically, this ends in a 3-on-1 beatdown after she used the ropes for her victory. They get a chair on the ring, but then out come Rio and Sky Blue. Oh no. Oh no. And then out comes the women's champion, Jamie Hayter. Just listen to these names. Rio, Sky Blue, Willow, Jamie Hayter. All bums. I mean, at least the Outcast, right, were 3 people in WWE, and if you've been in WWE, it automatically makes you a bit more over. But see, all in all, you've 7 women here, and the only one who's got even the slightest bit of a bit of star power is Saraya, and she sucks. She's not even good. It's just 7 jobber women, and it ain't that good, man. It really ain't that good. We then have, though, our main event of the evening with Adam Cole, baby, taking on Daniel Garcia. Just another jobber match. Daniel Garcia comes out. It brings up on his wee graphic that he's 1-0 this year in singles matches, and it is like it mentions his last victory was like 12 days ago on AEW Elevation, and it's like, what? Why is this even getting brought, man? AEW thinks it's great putting these wee graphics in. Like, it would maybe work at pay-per-views, and they're like, oh, you know, he's got it all against him going up against the champion. He's the champion's 12-0 in his last 12 pay-per-view appearances defending this belt or something like that. But see, when like it's literally everyone that comes out, oh aye, Matt Hardy's taking on Jungle Boy, I wonder who's going to win. Then it brings up on Matt Hardy's graphic that he hasn't won a match since he was fucking drinking chocolate milk in SmackDown 2003. Aye, brilliant idea, folks. Super duper brilliant idea. Another sloppy match here. Adam Cole just looking flabby. He wins. Daniel Garcia's a bum, right? And then the worst is yet to come, because he wins. Out comes his wife, Britt Baker. She's not involved in the women's feud anymore because she had to come out and kiss Adam Cole. Adam Cole woke up in agony, sleeping. We've all done that, right? We're humans. That all happens to us, you fucking fud. Right? Then, like, oh, the celebrations fall, the confetti falls through the confetti falls through the sky. And we're just sitting here like, he's beat Daniel Garcia. Not for a belt. Not for nothing. It's just it's just a return match. Alright? I get that. I do get that. But see, when Shawn Michaels returned and he beat Triple H in an unsanctioned match, they didn't give us treatment. And then Jericho's music hits, Judas plays, Jericho comes out. He doesn't make eye contact with Adam Cole. He helps get Garcia to the back, and then when he's on the ramp, he does like a half turnaround. It's like, alright, so obviously they're setting up Jericho against Cole, or maybe Jericho's going to try and get Cole to join the society. I don't know what they're doing, personally, but it's so fucking obvious what they're doing. Like, the acting here from Jericho, I think it's awful, honestly, and I love Jericho, I love Chris Jericho, but the whole turn around to one side and like half acknowledging the fact he's in the ring, I think it sucks, man, honestly. But anyway, guys, that is it for your AEW review. It wasn't that good. I'll give it a 2 out of 10. That's probably the highest Dynamite I'll ever get in recent times. But anyway, next up for us is SmackDown with Rampage, with Stand and Deliver, with Night 1 and Night 2 of Mania, with the Hall of Fame, with WWE 2K23. There's so much coming, right? So make sure you are liked, you are commenting, you are subscribing, you are voting, you are doing everything, because the content, this is the weekend for content. So make sure you check it out. But until next time, guys, leave your thoughts down below. Fog Wrestling signing out, and hit the big red button, you pair of Scooby-Doos.